Next team on the grading block is my team. I have to do it every year. It's always so great. Actually, last year I hated my team, but I still went 8-5 and made the playoffs and lost in the first round. But just wasn't a big fan of that. So we'll go back to looking at my year this year. I have Ezekiel Elliott as my keeper. Should play the whole season. Last year kind of cost me my playoffs, you fucking asshole. But, it is what it is. You should have just missed the first 6 games. I would have made it to the A seed and probably won the championship. Or came close. Closer than I did. But because I didn't, I'm picking where I picked, and I chose Michael Thomas with my first pick. Top 12 wide receiver, has a Hall of Fame 5,000-yard quarterback behind him, throwing him the ball, and he's really, really consistent. If you look at his per-game breakdown, it's really, really solid. He's coming into his 3rd year, which is normally a breakout year for wide receivers, but he has more catches than any wide receiver ever through 2 years. That broke Jarvis Landry's record, so we'll see if that continues this year. Tyreek Hill was the next player I grabbed in the next round, in the 3rd round. Top 5 wide receiver last year. I get it. They changed quarterbacks, and they had a hell of a year last year. He's super fast. What else does he do? Well, he runs the ball some too, but it seems like Patrick Mahomes has a good vibe with him going. 8 for 8 or 88 yards in the preseason practice game in week 3. And then I took Marvin Jones as my next wide receiver, also a top 12 wide receiver last year. So basically, if we're going off last year, which I know we're not, I have 3 top 12 wide receivers. That's pretty solid considering the fact that I also have Ezekiel Elliott on my team. I also grabbed Randall Cobb, who is the number 2 right now for Aaron Rodgers. I get it, he's got a little banged up, but I don't need him right away. Number 2 for Aaron Rodgers typically averages around 9 to 12 touchdowns, and Randall Cobb's been that guy before. I expect him to be that guy again, and we'll see how that plays out. Then I grabbed Nelson Aguilar, who right now is the number 1 de facto for the Eagles because they have Ashlon Jeffries missing at least the first couple weeks with his shoulder. And then I grabbed D.D. Westbrook because nobody really knows what's going to happen with the Jaguars team. So flyer late. We'll see what happens. Running back wise, I already said that I have Ezekiel Elliott. I grabbed Kenyon Drake in the 4th round. He's a question mark. I get it. He could be really good or he could be really bad. I mean, it's like the Dolphins were just really bad. But he catches balls. He runs. Last 5 weeks of last season, he led the league in rushing yards once he got the start by himself. He's got Frank Gore to probably vulture some touchdowns. But all in all, when you have Zeke and you have the wide receiving core, he's not a bad second to have. I'm happy with that pick. Tevin Coleman, I grabbed a little bit later. He has standalone value, but if Devonta Freeman goes down, sorry, Purvis, he's going to be good. He's going to be really good. And that could, offset the Kenyon Drake. I grabbed Rashad Penny and Ronald Jones because I was taking them late. Both of them could be starters by the end of the year. I don't need them right away, and they could be guys that end up being really, really valuable. And then I took Corey Clement late in the rounds. Listen, Corey Clement in the Super Bowl, everybody talks about it. He was really, really good. But he's a pass-catching back, and Jay Ajayi's already been banged up this year. We'll see what happens with him, but where I got him value-wise, he could be a guy that I actually start this year and be happy to use. I took Russell Wilson. He was the 4th quarterback off the board. I took him in the 6th round. I thought that was pretty good value for a guy that's never finished out of the top 5 for quarterbacks because he's got the legs, and the legs matter. When you get rushing yards, it matters. And his offensive line can suck because he'll run more, and I get more points for rushing yards than I do for passing. So we'll see how that breaks down. But once again, he's never had a season outside of the top 5 when he's been in the NFL. So I'm happy with that pick, especially in the 6th round, which allowed me to get my wide receivers and running backs already settled. Then I took my weakest part of my team, Tyler Eifert, super late. I kept getting beat to the punch on the tight end, so I kept waiting. It's weak. Listen, he's back from an injury. He could not do anything, but if he does do anything like he used to, he could be valuable. It's a flyer. I get it. He's the worst part of my team, but it is what it is. And then I took Will Lutz as a kicker because he plays for the Saints, and the Saints score points, and he'll get points because of that. And then I took the Cincinnati Bengals for no other reason than they're playing the Colts week 1, and I just want to see how the Colts do. I think that they'll still be weak, and I think the Bengals will have a good start, especially since they, sacked Josh Allen in their little preview for 5 times in the first half. So we do get points for sacks. I'm hoping on that. Overall, like I said, I think my team's pretty complete. I think that I have a lot of depth because I didn't go for the 2 defenses. I didn't go for 2 kickers. Who does that? And I only went for 1 quarterback. I think I'm one of few teams that only has one quarterback on the roster. I might be the only team that only has one quarterback. I only start one, and I need a guy for a week. Pray Wilson doesn't get hurt, but even if he does, one of you guys are dropping a quarterback by that time. Overall, I gave my team an A. I think that it's really, really balanced, and I think it's going to be a really good team this year. And I'm hoping that I'll make it to the playoffs and hopefully bring home my second SFL championship.